So thank you all. I'm here in San Diego, and just want to invite or thank everyone for taking the time to come here. Usually I do this once a month for our resellers and customers who join the additional CEO webinars, which you can see when you go to your subscription. You can get access to that. And typically what we do is we talk about some of the new things that we've done. We talk about the new things we're working on, and we go over questions, talk about strategy for both the resellers and for some of our larger clients. But of course, it doesn't mean it's only for larger clients. If you want to sign up, it doesn't matter how big of a customer you are, but you'll have access to be able to interact directly with me once a month. So we're going to start first by saying, well, Happy New Year. This is my Twitter handle, which you guys can connect with me on. I'm also on LinkedIn. And so I recommend that if you guys get a chance to, if you'd like to connect with me directly, I'm happy to do that. And if you have any questions or issues or anything you want to bring up to me directly, we're not a nameless, faceless corporation. We're a group of people who really cares about your success. And I think you'll see that as you talk to anybody in the team, if you're talking to anyone in customer service, or you're ever working with Shay and doing any custom implementation work, or Ryan, if you have him ever doing anything, and I'm sure all of you have worked with Oscar at some point for your onboarding and training, you'll know that we really genuinely do want to make sure that we are able to help you as best we can. So, and that's not just empty words. Most of you who have worked with us know that that's who we are. So today, we're going to talk about some of the new things that we've done in the last month. Some of them you may have noticed, some of them you may have not. And then we're going to talk about some of the big things that happened over the last year and sort of bring things to light in case you haven't worked with them before. And when I talk about some of these features, you're going to see I'm going to talk a little bit about strategy so that you can see how this can play into the success of your business and using your CRM. Then we're going to talk a little bit about what's coming soon, and we'll open up some feedback questions. So we're going to use Zoom to do some polling. So hopefully you guys are all still there and still awake at the end of this and can give us some feedback. And then we'll open it up for Q&A. So it's sort of I've blocked out about an hour for your time. So hopefully you all get the most out of this. And like I said, I'll jump back and check to see the chat window to see if there's other questions that have come up in the meantime while I've been doing this. All right, so yes, we wish you a Happy New Year. And I want to talk about a few brief things that aren't necessarily system specific. One is the book, CRM for Dummies. It doesn't mean you're a dummy to get the book, but I spent a year writing it. I worked with Wiley and the editors and everything to get this book. It's available on Amazon. I think you can get it for as cheap as $15 now. But normally I think it's 20 or 25 or something. So it came out last year. There are a couple things in it that are not in our system right now. Things like, I should say the other way around. The book doesn't have some things that we do in GreenRope right now because it was published last year. Or about a year and a half ago. Things like custom objects and some of the advanced things that you'll see that we talk about today. But there's a lot of good fundamental information in there. So if you don't have a copy of this book, go get it. And if price or if money is an issue financially, whatever, we do have a few free digital versions that you can get. You've got to go through Adobe's signing digital rights management cloud thing. It's kind of a pain, but we do have those available. So if you would like a free version, just reach out to someone in support, or Bjorn or Matt or Diana, whoever you worked with, to get onboarded and demoed the system. So we're happy to do that for you. But if you can, go to Amazon and download the book or get the book, the physical paperback. The other thing, and I'm sure every one of you who has gone through training with Oscar has seen Journey Flow, but I would recommend, if you haven't, go on to Journey Flow and take some time and look at modeling the way you do business. This customer journey mapping is really important for understanding how to best use any CRM, any marketing platform, any technology, us or otherwise. What I always say when we talk about bringing customers on and talking about getting the most out of your CRM is you have to do research first. You've got to look at the way your business works first. Journey Flow is a great tool because it works with helping you understand process. So what I always say is there's 3 steps. The first one is understand your market, look at your market segments. The second part is use Journey Flow to model the way your customers are going to interact with your brand. And that goes from starting with the very beginning where they first learn about who you are and interact with you all the way through to visiting your website, interacting with you on social media, giving you phone calls, filling out forms, understanding who you are and how you do business, and then taking them through the client onboarding process. And then afterwards, making sure that they're happy and turning them from just customers into advocates for your brand. And so understanding how you are going to do that requires a good visual understanding of how that process works. And that's what Journey Flow is for. So if you haven't done that, and for those of you who, if you're a regular GreenRope user, it is just like the journeys. The difference is that it's not connected to anything. It's a high-level strategic planning tool. And it's got some colors and everything in it. So it's designed as a disconnected way for you to look at strategy and understand how you're going to interact with your customers. The last part of that is once you have this, it'll really help you understand what your data model has to look like. So for you to be good at your CRM and understand how you're going to use all the technology at your fingertips, you have to know what data you need to store about the companies and contacts that you're working with. And so this will help illuminate that. So once you understand your market and you understand your process and your customer journey, then you can understand what data you need to support that and what functions you need to support that. And so that's why Journey Flow is such an important thing. So I'd recommend everyone use that, get used to it, and really involve your team in understanding how you want to make it all work together. The other thing is the certification program. It really works, and it's a very powerful way to get the most out of your GreenRope experience. We spent the better part of about 3 years developing a curriculum that walks you through 5 different modules, talking about basic implementation, then moving on to sales and marketing and operations, and then there's a mastery course. So all of these components of the certification program will walk you through both the strategic and the tactical implementation side. So if you really want to get the most out of your GreenRope experience, or if you're a consultant and you're going to bring GreenRope to other customers of yours, then we really recommend that you dive into the certification program because it will take you from start to finish. So you'll be working with Melissa, who is, she was really the one that wrote most of that curriculum, and she'll be able to help you go through it. There are certain exercises that you have to do to show your competency and to show that you actually learn and paid attention. But once you do that, you'll get through there, you'll become certified, and you'll be able to you'll have a greater understanding of how GreenRope works. And then that certification will help you go out and find other businesses, including other existing GreenRope users who will be able to benefit from your knowledge. And lastly, follow us on social media. If you really want to see get the most up to date on everything that we're doing, see what we post on Facebook, LinkedIn, and Twitter, and we even do some personal stuff on Instagram. So I know that Alessandra, who is kind of helped co-hosting me on this webinar, she manages a lot of that for us. So does Jake, and so the two of them kind of work together to keep that up to date. And so you'll see some pretty cool things there. You'll get the latest updates. We share some really useful, helpful articles that are relevant to getting the most out of your CRM and marketing automation. So follow us on social media if you don't already. All right, so let's talk about some of the new things. The first thing you may have noticed is that over the weekend, we launched a new UI update. In the process, what we did was we took a lot of the shadows away from some of these elements. I use this just sort of as a example where you can see some of those elements. you'll see the boxes here don't have shadows on them anymore. What we did is we flattened, we got rid of the shadows, and we put just a little 1 pixel border around them. So it's sort of a subtle thing, but it's you know how design is. Everyone's changing things all the time. And so what we do is we try to keep up with the times. Obviously, we're leaders in the technology, but with UI, sometimes, you know, Apple and Google kind of do these things where it's like, well, now it's cool to make everything super flat. So now everything is super flat. Whereas before there was a little bit of rounding on some of the boxes and the shadows, so now there's no shadows. The other thing that we did is we changed our buttons so that now they're more pill-shaped. So you'll notice, like on this screenshot, you'll see the green and the yellow buttons there. They have rounded edges. Previously, they were square. Now, we did not change the buttons on the dialog. So if you click on something and something pops up, you'll notice those buttons on the bottom row are still square because the dialog is square. So we didn't feel like it made much sense to change those. But with these other buttons in there, I think the rounded actually is kind of good because it calls them out a little bit nicer from the rest of the content on the page. So you'll notice that as you go working through the system. So that was really this new update. This design really came from a sort of combination of Ryan and Matt kind of working together to come up with some of these elements. And so I think the end result, I think, is a nice improvement. One of the things we just did this a couple days ago is now we moved well, actually it's still there. There is still, because we don't want to confuse people and start changing this. We don't like to change the system too much too fast. But we created the delivery filters now in a different spot. So if you look at the filter search on this screenshot, you can see on the left side there where now you can have a filter that's based on a read, send, click, sent but did not read, sent it but did not click action, and it's in the top filters area. The other thing that we added was now you can set as a filter a date range. So you can say so if they were sent an email and they read it or did not read it in a certain date range, then you can do that. So strategically, why that's important. Sometimes for deliverability, we want to identify the people who have not been reacting to us. So you could say, I want to exclude everybody who has not read the last emails from, in the last year or something. Or if you want to send one last email to everyone who hasn't read it in the last year, something like that, then you can use the filters to do that. So that's what this does for you. The filters they're a very powerful tool for this, and so you can see how you can create these filters as a very useful thing there. So a little thing came down and said Q&A. So I think I'm going to see if I can do this, and I can't see the Q&A thing. So hang on, let me see if I can do this. And where are the questions? All right, I'm going to have to come back to it because the chat, hit the Q&A to see the panels. Okay, so I'm not sure where they're hiding the questions here. So we'll get to that here as soon as we can, because there we go. Got it, Tom. Useful. All right. Excellent. So let me go back and start this up again. Hopefully everything's still working. Okay. So the next thing. So this is pretty cool, and it's actually still in test mode. Well, I shouldn't say test mode because we're using it now on GreenRope, and we have some basic functionality working on it, and that's push notifications. If you have been in GreenRope, you probably have seen the little thing that came down and said, "Do you want to accept push notifications?" And hopefully you said yes. We actually have about 400 users now that have said yes to that, so which is kind of good. But the idea here is that if you're a user and you want to send a message out to a contact and you want to have it be trackable, that's where you use your personal emails, right? So you can go into the CRM, you click on the contact, and when the thing pops up, you'll see there's a button at the bottom that says send personal email. And when you click that, you can send the message to them and it's trackable. So what we have done automatically for you now is that when that recipient clicks on the link, you will then see a browser push notification come up on your screen. So if you send them an email that says, click on here. And so for our own personal example, so Matt and Diana, right, they're our two main salespeople. When they send a message to somebody that says, click on this link so that you can go and put in your request for a booking appointment to get a demo. When someone clicks on that link, that click has the push notification to it. So when they click, then you'll see, so Matt is the one that was, for example, that would be sending that message. He would send that. When the recipient clicks the link, then a little thing flies out, a push notification on his browser that's connected to Firefox or Safari or Chrome will slide in the side of the screen and just say, this recipient clicked on this link. So as a salesperson, it's kind of nice to have that kind of alert. Now, we also do it with workflow activations now. So if there is an alert for a workflow that gets activated where a person would receive an email or receive a text message, then we will also do a push notification to them. So it's just another way of letting you know that this workflow is activated. So this little thing that you see here on the screen is from the account settings area. And you'll see that as we start adding more functionality, there will be more things you can turn on and off here. And so you'll be able to turn that on or turn that off and say, yes, I do want those notifications, or no, I don't. We are in the process right now of getting this for all of our resellers connected. And so we were doing mainly just testing to make sure that it worked and it was clean and everything looked right. So now that we have that dialed in, then we're going to be doing the push notifications now for all of our resellers. All right, so the next thing, journeys. So most of you are familiar with journeys. In the example here on the screenshot, you can see there's the journeys, and you can go through, and as you know, most people, you know, you're familiar with this process where a contact will move through the journey, and you've got the different splits and everything. In a box that's sending an email to that person, you can see, as an example here, the larger image on the screen. Here's an example of what happens when someone goes through journey flow. So you can actually see that's our actual journey for people that go through journey flow. You can see that we have a new area down here for the effect percentage. So now those of you who are familiar with doing email marketing with us know that what we call the effect percentage is the reads, or the clicks divided by the number of reads. So that if you sent an email to, say, 10 people and 5 people read it, that would be a 50% read rate. If one person clicked on it, then 1 out of 10 would be your overall click rate. But because only 5 people read it, you would have a 1 over 5, you would have a 20% effective rate. So basically it just shows you that percentage. So it's a good way to show how effective you were at getting someone who was at least interested in knowing what you were talking about to actually click on a link and have that call to action. So that's what that effect percentage is for. Here's another one. So you may have noticed this. What we found was that we had users who were, they'd have data in their CRM, and then they would go into the user fields. And if you have specific fields where something has to be of value. So in this example here, this is actually from our account where we keep track of the people who own GreenRope accounts. And you can see here on the sort of in the grayed out area behind where we have different options, right? Trial, comp, pay as you go, whatever. So these are different options for people having accounts. So what we can do is, well, you can see that one of these should be active. So what I did in this test was I said, okay, I'm going to remove active. Now we have a good number of active. So this is our test database, but here we have 591 contacts who are listed as active in our test database. And in the process of trying to remove them, the system says, wait, no, you can't do that because you have 591 contacts that still have the word active, that are still have active set as their account status in the field. So what this does is it forces data integrity. So it makes sure, because if we were to allow this to happen, and this has happened before, and people get confused where they say, well, we no longer want to allow that value to be used, but then we still have contacts there that have that data set. And so in the past, we would just let that data sit there in case they changed their mind and wanted it to come back, then they'd be able to see that. What we've done now is we're forcing users to be better stewards of their data. And what that means is that it's not going to allow you to save a change if you still have contacts that have that data value associated with them. Now, it's important because we want to make sure that you don't lose data that you shouldn't have, so, or that you want to be able to keep. So what we've done is this will alert you. Now you can go, once it says no, you can't save it, then you can go into the contacts view area and you can do modified data from there. And you can change that. You can also do it in context tools where you can change data for people. But and that's how you would get around this, to make sure that before you remove an option, that there are no more contacts that have that option set in that field. So we are actually, later today, we're going to be launching a mass modification for company level user fields as well. So that's coming later. Actually, today, Lyle's working on that right now. Just as a heads up. So if you have any questions about how that works, or if you have any issues with that, support can help you and kind of talk you through all that. This is sort of a minor thing that we did under contacts reports. There's now a new type of report that aggregates all companies. Previously, it would look at only companies that were associated with contacts in the group you were selected to, but sometimes people create companies and they don't have any contacts in them. So what we want to do is allow you to see data for all the companies, regardless of whether or not they have contacts in them, and that's what this is for. So the concept of companies and access levels it can be a little tricky because contacts are in groups. Companies are separate from that. And so you can have companies that have no contacts in them. They're sort of separate entities like that. And so we want to make sure that you have access to be able to get reporting on that data and not necessarily restrict it to just companies that are associated with contacts or companies that are associated with contacts in a specific group. Okay, so the last thing I want to touch on for what we did in this last month is this. So for those of you who use our ticketing system, which I would recommend you do, we use our own ticketing system. It allows us to support thousands of end users with our small team of 20-something people. So it helps us make sure that we're always on top of issues as they come up. One of the things that we have done is, so this is an example of a ticket that was created. We had a client that needed to have some additional functionality with Zapier. For those of you who are not familiar with Zapier, it's a third-party tool for synchronizing data between different platforms. If you have something that you need to sit outside of GreenRope in a different application and it's connected to Zapier, you can do a lot of things to help with automation, where if something happens in GreenRope, then it can send something over to Zapier and vice versa. So we had someone who had some requests for doing some things with invoicing. And so we're in the process, we're actually almost ready for it. It should be done either this week or early next week. And mostly that's just working with Zapier to do that and get approval and everything. But to do that, so this is an example of a ticket that was created. We started working on this project 5 months ago, as you can see. And it's just about done now, but you can see the total amount of, on the right in purple, there's a new thing there, a new piece of information that's available now when you're working on tickets. So the nice thing is our ticketing system is connected to our project management system. So as you create a ticket, that creates this ticket ID number, which you see on the left there, that 15618. And then in the project manager, as you're doing your projects, and so of course we use our own project manager. So as the developers work on stuff, they're working on issues sometimes they're building new features. In this case, Todd has been doing this work on this Zapier ticket. And he's now, you can see on the right side, he's done 19 project updates and logged 107 hours, and the last one was on December 24th. where he was working on software and everything in support of this particular ticket. So from a customer service perspective, if someone were to come to our customer service team and say, hey, what's the status of this? Then it's very easy for Dan to go back and look at our internal ticketing system and say, I know exactly what's happening. We've been working on this for this long. We've been doing this. And so if it isn't clear, then he can go, and you can go click the view updates if you need to. But the idea is that we have the ticketing system and the project management system connected. And with that information, customer service can now see what the development team is doing on the back end working on these projects. So, and keep in mind, we're a software company, but this kind of concept is not necessarily just about doing something for ticketing or just for software. Any business can do this, no matter what you're doing. So our project management system is very flexible. It allows you to pretty much manage anything. Keeps track of billing, it keeps track of hours and all the updates and everything. And you've got a Kanban board, we've got a Gantt chart, everything that you would need. So really recommend getting your team on some kind of a project management system. And if you use ours and connect it to your ticketing system, it's a very powerful combination. All right, so I'll pause here and see if you have any questions. Okay, so Ross had a great question. Do customers have to give permission for us to use push notifications, or can we activate them? Okay, so currently the system right now is used for GreenRope to send push notifications to your users. So you'll notice when you log into GreenRope, that's where the push notification alert drops down and says, yes, I accept, or I do not accept push notifications. So yes, customers/users of GreenRope need to give permission to receive push notifications. We do not yet have push notifications set up for you to use for your own contacts. So if you're a user and you have, say, 5,000 contacts, and you want to do that, we have not built that out yet. So that's going to be coming in the next few months. We have a partnership with a company called One Signal that we're doing that with. So we'll let you know as that starts to roll out. Since the push notifications are relatively new, we're going to be focusing first on setting them up for our users. So the users will be able to go in and say, I want to get notified when X happens. And so we've got a lot of different ideas of how we want to do this. So for example, getting a push notification if someone changes the status of an opportunity. So there's a lot of things that we want to set up internally for internal use. And then we'll get it available so that you can then put push notifications on your websites to gather their permission so that you can do pushes to them. So that'll be coming in the next few months, but that was an excellent question, Ross. I think I have some more questions here. Yes, sir. Good question. So are there plans to update the mobile version of GreenRope? Yes, we are working on that right now. We actually were working with a company in Ukraine, and we'll be taking that effort in-house. So we're going to be working on that over the next, probably the next 6 months. You'll probably see something pretty significant come out there. Because I agree, it's good, it's okay, but we can definitely make it better. And you should be able to use it though for opening contacts and getting their data pretty simple, just with the simple search tools and by choosing the correct group. That'll make things easier too. So I know they use heavily the slide outs from the sides. So when you're using the mobile app, so that the mobile app that you download from the iOS or Google Play Store, then you'll see that the side swipey thing is used a lot. So good question. All right, good. So I'll keep going here, and we'll move on to some of the big things we did in the last year. So this we did actually last month, and this is a pretty useful function. So Workflows should be in heavy use by your company. Pretty much no matter what you do, workflows are an effective way for you to automate what happens when. So you've got you have a workflow that can get activated, say, by someone clicking a link on an email or filling out a form, or if you go to lead scoring and you've got hot lead scoring automation or cold lead scoring automation. There's a whole lot of things you can do with your workflows. One of the things you can do, and the way I describe it is you've got triggers and workflows. Triggers are us listening for things to happen. Maybe somebody watches a video or even manually someone activates a workflow. The workflows are the execution side. So one of the things you can do with your workflows is you can create an opportunity. So there's a couple things that we added. One is the ability for the workflow to create the opportunity on a specific phase path. So I'll explain phase paths if you're not familiar. So the idea of a phase path really is about understanding that you're going to sell things differently. So in our example, when we sell someone a CRM, that's different than the sales process of selling them, say, building a custom website or building custom email templates or helping them with their CRM implementation. So you've got two different things that we're selling. Same, like another example would be selling a reseller. So resellers have the ability to take our platform, private label it, and resell it to their channel, make the recurring revenue off of that. So there's a process that goes into that sales process, and there are different phases of going through that process that are different. So, and then also, like if we're putting together a big proposal, we'll be putting together a proposal, and then there's an analysis phase, and all these other things. So these phases are going to be different depending on what we're selling. And so because we've got these different phases, we want to follow specific phase paths depending on how we sell those products. Or services. So what we've got here, this is an example. If someone comes to us and says they need full service CRM, then this opportunity will automatically be fired off. They'll get put into phase one in this full service CRM path. We can specify the brochure if we want to here. And then we also have the ability to specify specific products. And so that's what this is. This allows us to create those specific products that are associated with the sale of that particular thing, whatever the product or service, whatever that is. So it's sort of a nice thing. So if you have a specific process where maybe a salesperson identifies somebody as a particular kind of a lead and you want to open up an opportunity, maybe you met that person at a trade show, you've done a little bit of pre-qualification, and then you've got a workflow that gets activated once that pre-qualification is done. Then you can have the workflow get activated, and then it will create the opportunity with these specifics that you identify in the workflow. So hopefully that all made sense. All right, the next thing that we did, and this is it's sort of a subtle thing, but it's a pretty useful thing. So when you're in GreenRope, you can have it open in more than one tab. And what I always recommend doing is, if you're in it, right-click right where you see that on the tab there. So this is from Chrome. It's the same in Firefox and Safari. But you can right-click on it, go to duplicate, however you want to say that, and it will create the exact same tab open in the GreenRope will be now open in two tabs. You can do it as many tabs as you want. The really cool thing is now you can have multiple things open at the same time. So it lets you jump back and forth if you want to do that. So say like you're working in a contact and maybe you want to go and you want to keep that contact up, but you also want to go to the workflow manager, for example, or if you want to open up, I don't know, something else, then having that duplicate function is kind of nice. So and it's cool because they don't have to necessarily be in the same group. So you can go and you can change in one tab, you can change to a different group. It's pretty cool. It took us a long time to do that. It's very tricky in terms of handling sessions and the whole thing. But fortunately, our developers are very smart, and we're able to figure that out. So anyway, so take advantage of that feature. This is another app that we created. So under the apps, you'll see that there is an app called the org chart. So this is kind of nice because you can build the org chart for your company, for your groups. So each group can have its own org chart. So say you're managing different organizations. You can create your own org charts, and then you can keep track of them and see them here. And you'll see I grayed out everyone's personal phone numbers so that they wouldn't get their phone numbers spread all over the internet. But you can see that how useful that is, where you can create these apps as a way to, or these org charts as a way to keep track of everybody in an organization. So coming soon, probably in the next year, we're going to extend this into individual companies in your CRM, so you'll be able to do that as well. But that's on the to-do list. We'll be working on that. So we made some changes, some upgrades to the command center. For those of you who are familiar with it, you've probably seen this before. We have a lot of customers that actually set this up inside the boardroom of their companies. Because it updates itself automatically every minute. So it's kind of cool, though. It shows you when people are on your website, you can see different actions and everything. But we also added now the ability to see conversions, both total and averages, by country. And you can also zoom in as well. So you can see when you go to the US, you can zoom in and see by state. If you go to Europe, you can kind of blow that up and see that in a little bit more detail. But the idea here, of course, is that we want to be able to show this in a graphical way. So you can sort of visually see what's happening. And of course, you can filter now by conversions. So if you want to look at only conversions of a particular type, then you can do that here. And you can also limit how far back you want to go. So if you say you only want to see a visual representation of all certain types of conversions, say just in the last 30 days, then you can do that. So it's kind of a nice tool to see that. And then we also, of course, have the ability to show all the contact locations in a group, right, overlaid on that as well. So the command center is pretty neat. Like I said, it's kind of it's a nice way to visualize your data. And if you do have a big boardroom, just throw it up there and let it just continually update. It's pretty cool thing to watch. So most of you have probably seen this happening, evolving over the last year in the media library. Some of you may not actually have noticed or seen or used this this part of it. So which is kind of why I pulled it up here. It's got a really useful search function, but when you're in the media library, if you go to that search and you look at that little caret there, right now it's an upside, or it's a right side up triangle, I guess, the black one there in the search. If you click it, it'll open down below. And so you can search on all kinds of different aspects of your file, including the contents of that file. So which is pretty neat. So you can go through, if you have a PDF or documents, a Word doc, you can it'll search through the document and find all the documents that match a particular string that you're looking for. So it's pretty cool. And of course, we have our own documents and our own articles that you can store that are outside of PDF or doc format for internal use as well, and it will search those. So the media library redesign, that was a lot of work by Eric, and he's been dedicating a lot of time over the last year to that. He's also doing a lot of the work on the editor. So when you're on the WYSIWYG editor and you're building your emails or you're building your landing pages, and you're doing that design work, you'll notice when you click the little buttons there, the dialogues that come up have been redesigned. Things like the mail merge functionality. Right now, I think he's working on the save function. So he's going through and gradually re-engineering each of those and redesigning them. I will admit that I wrote the first version, and they can do a lot better. So he's been doing a lot of really good improvements on that. So I think he's been doing a great job. The booking calendar. So we've made a lot of improvements to that over the years, and I didn't see the attendee list, but we've got a couple of some users who have dedicated a lot of time to helping us with testing. So Chandresh and Tom, I'm sure if you guys are out there, definitely appreciate the time and the help going through all that. But now the booking calendar is released. It's stable. It's great. So the nice thing with a booking calendar is, and there's other things out there like Calendly does something similar, but it's not directly connected to your CRM like this is. So you can customize the entire process. So if someone goes to a website And if you actually go to our website and you request a demo, you'll get sent to either Matt or Diana's booking calendar page where you can go and you can request. You just click on the day, or you can see there's a list. You can click the date and time that you want to request. And so what happens is you can either set it so that it automatically approves a request, or you can make it so that you have to approve a request internally first before it gets added. Then once that happens, then you can send an approval email and or an approval workflow. And one of the things that we did that was important was we built in an auto detection of your own calendar URL, so that if you have or through the iCal system. So what happens is you can go in and say, I'm going to book out, say I'm available 9 to 5 Monday through Friday. What we will do is automatically look at your calendar and remove time slots where you have things happening. So let's say you book a lunch on your calendar that's totally outside the booking system. You book a lunch, then you want to make sure, maybe it'll be a long lunch, or maybe you decide you're going to take a vacation on Friday and you're not going to be available, but you don't want to go into your booking calendar and change that. If you just create an event inside your personal calendar, the booking calendar will read it and it will pull those time slots out. So it's kind of nice with that. We also added some auto detection of the visitor's time zone, so that if you're doing this globally and you've got people trying to set up appointments in different time zones, then it will automatically detect that and correlate everything accordingly. So we spent a lot of time building that and testing it, and it works great. And we're happy that we've had so much usage on it. So it's been getting a lot more usage too, as people become more aware of it and start playing with it. All right, so that was some of the big things that we did in the last year. Coming soon, like I mentioned before, a couple of these I've mentioned before, you'll see in the Companies tab, we're going to add the ability to do mass data manipulation of company-related user field data. You'll see some new Zaps that are going to come out. This has been a whole process. We've been working with Zapier, who they changed a lot of the underlying fundamental methods of how to set up Zaps over the last year. And so we've evolved to their new version. It's taken us a long time to do it, but it's an improved way of doing things. It's better. And so now we're going to add a couple more Zaps related to invoices, and those should be out, like I said, sometime in the next week or so. Also, one of the apps that we have is called the Brand Monitor. And so that's, you'll notice that it mostly draws from Twitter, but it also looks at a few other things. We're going to be adding a few more data sources to that. Of course, like I mentioned before, with push notifications, we're going to be doing more of that. And you're going to be seeing a few more filter options as well. So you can use different tools to isolate contacts depending on things that they've been doing. So there's a lot of things that work here, and of course, always continuing to make improvements on the UI and the user experience. All right, so thank you very much for sitting through all that. Here's the interactive portion. So Alessandra's going to help me out with this. So I'm going to get out of this right now. And actually, Alessandra, while you're getting the polls ready, I'm going to look at this. Okay, so we got a couple good questions. Yasser has a question about determining how many followers or contacts had on their social media profiles. So yes, so that is an excellent question, and you can actually do that now. So the way it works is we use a tool that integrates with both Tower Data and Full Contact to pull in contact-related information. You'll notice when you call up a contact record, on the bottom panel, there's a button that says Research Contact, which you can do. And it's a free service, so you just click on it, and you will pull it in, and you just click it, you'll see it'll go out, it'll search all of their databases and pull that information in and attach it as a user field to that contact record automatically. So the research tool is very powerful. It's really cool. It works great. If you do it one at a time, it's free, but it might take you some time. We also have the ability to make this automatic when people fill out forms. So when you do, when someone does, fills out a ticket form or fills out a sign-up form, then we will automatically go do that research for you and pull that data automatically into the CRM. And if we find data that you haven't yet defined in your CRM, you'll notice that it creates a user field for you automatically for that. So, so you can do that one at a time when you're looking at a contact record. And when someone comes in through your forms, then we automatically get that data. If you want to backfill that, then you can go to, under contacts, you'll see there's an item called research. With research, you can go and do that en masse. Now, it's not, because we have to pay for it. So every time we go out and we do that, it costs us a little bit of money. So when you go in and do that, you'll see that there's a small fee associated. I think it's like $0.01 to go out and grab that data. And so we look up a combination of what we can get from Full Contact, which is the social media related data, and tower data, which will pull in data like, I think their homeowner, their income status, if they have children, like a few things like that, whatever that's available offline. I think we get their income too. So, so that's all available if you go through the contacts research and want to get all of that data en masse. So hopefully that answered your question there. So Dan, question, with the media library, is there a way to integrate Evernote? So right now our integration with Evernote is only for acquiring contacts through the business card scanner. So that's under contacts import. We don't have the media library integrated with Evernote. Now I'm not sure, but I think Evernote might be on Zapier. So there may be a way to synchronize that data. Wow, but we don't have a way to import files or things into the media library through Zapier. So, so I don't think we'll be able to do an integration with Evernote for the media library files, for the images there. Currently, our Evernote integration is just for scanning business cards and getting that data in. But I can talk to our developers and see if they have some ideas about that. So Charles, a question, will the mobile version will be adding click-to-dial capabilities on it? Yes. So the mobile app currently, when you see a contact and you click to dial, it actually uses the phone to call that person. And when you do that, you lose the transcription and the recording that you get on the web UI. So if you're in the web UI and you have a phone number set up, so of course you got to go to communicate, and then there's the SMS, MMS voice. In there, that's where you create a phone number. Once you create your phone number, then you can do click to call. Once you do click to call, you'll see the call little button there next to the contact's name. You can click it, and it will call you, the user, the number that's connected to the user who's logged in, and it will call the recipient, and it will create a bridge between the two, and it will record it, and then it will transcribe it and automatically attach it to the contact record. Super powerful, very useful tool, and highly recommended you do that for accountability and for keeping more information there. So it's very useful tool. But on the mobile app, because we have the direct call, it just calls that person. So it doesn't use that same system for doing the click to call with the recording and transcription. So it will automatically add the CRM activity to the contact, but you won't get the recording of the conversation or the transcription if it's done through the mobile app. So, so that's the way that works. So, all right, so let's see, we have another, all right, so Andrew had a question, more info on managing affiliates. Okay, so with affiliates, the way we do this, what we do is we use campaign IDs. So for those of you who have experimented with this, you can create a campaign ID either through a workflow or through an inbound link. And what I mean by that is if you have, say, www.yourwebsite.com, you would put a question mark CMP equals, And whatever you put after the equals is the campaign ID. The way we do affiliate tracking is that we will then take those campaign IDs and associate them with individual contacts in your CRM. And we do that inside underneath the website tab where it says contacts and affiliates. So we recommend going and checking that out. We've got some videos and there's a lot of contextual help there. Someone from support can help you as well. But the idea is that you create these campaigns and you attach contacts to those campaigns. So you can say, show me every contact and all the revenue, all the conversions that have come from this particular campaign. So what you can do is if you have an affiliate, you give them a custom link that they would use. So it would be question mark CMP equals, if the guy's name is Joe Smith, you could put Joe Smith there. And what that will do is that inbound link, whenever it's used, whoever does that, whoever clicks on that link, so Joe goes out and he talks to somebody at an event, Joe goes out, he posts something on his website or social media, whatever, somebody clicks on a link, on that link, and they go back to the URL, they go back to the website that you're tracking, and you put our tracking system on that. Then we identify who they are by that campaign ID. And at first they're going to be anonymous because we're not going to know who they are. They're not going to identify themselves, but at some point they will. They'll fill out a form, they'll click on an email, and then we do the backfilling of all that connected data. And we'll be able to tell you then who that person is. We'll assign that campaign ID to them. And then if you have that campaign ID, say if it's Joe Smith, then you attach Joe Smith's CRM record and that contact to that campaign ID. So that's how we connect the dots there. And so then you can always filter by campaign ID, and then we do the commission tracking under that campaigns and affiliates and everything for you automatically. So that's how we do that. So, and like I said, if you have any questions about that, we can show you how we do that, and someone can walk you through that process. I think we have some videos too on the help page. So take a look at that. Yeah, and Dan, I see your comment there. It would be nice if we could auto-populate the media library in GreenRope from Evernote. I think that would be a pretty powerful tool. So then you could do the web clipping, and then you could send that data to somebody. Yeah, I can see how that would be very, very useful. So we'll take a look at if we can have a way to use Zapier to do that, because that would be the easiest thing. Writing direct integrations can be a pain. It's, companies are always changing their UIs, whereas if we just write to Zapier, it's much easier that way. So I'll investigate that, and we'll get back to you. All right, so those are some really good questions. Thank you for all of those. All right, so Alessandra, I believe you have some polls there. You want to try sending those out? I'm not sure how this is going to work here with both of us running. Maybe I have to do it. All right, so maybe I'll do it. Okay, so I do have to do it. So here we go. I'm the host. She pointed out the obvious. All right, so here we go. We're going to launch the poll. Let's see how it is. All right, so we have some questions there. So hopefully everyone can do that and go in and start polling or answering the poll. I think what do we have? 6, 7 questions. And I'm hoping everyone can see those. Yes? All right. So I'll give you guys a minute or two to go in there and All right, starting to get some answers in. This is great. Vincent, yeah, I saw your chat. You hit submit, but nothing happened. I think it's coming through. I'm seeing responses come in. So I think it's working. All right, we got. Aha, Stephen pointed something out that you have to answer all the questions before the submit works. I know on this survey or on the poll, there's a question there about the trip proximity widget. I didn't mention that previously. For those of you who have played with it, it's when you're looking at a contact record, you'll see there's the visit tab. That's what that trip proximity widget is. And so if you click on that, it'll pull up the map, and then you can search for things there. So. And if you're not sure what that trip proximity widget is, that's what we meant by that. I probably should have covered that earlier. But it's just a nice way to visualize where the contact is, and if you want to make reservations, you can do it right from there. Okay, so we got some good questions too that came in. All right, so while you guys are answering, it looks like we've got 44% of the audience who's completed those. So I'll go through looks like we got a few questions here. So James, you should be able to see 7 questions on the poll. Hopefully, there might be a submit or something to do there. Carl, the simplest way to efficiently manage contact editing. So it depends what you're looking to do. If you're trying to, if you want to manage obviously one at a time, you click on the link, you open it up into the dialogue, and you make those changes there. If you need to modify a large number, we do have the mass modification tool. So that's an easy way to do it as well, where you can go in and you can identify, if you want to change everyone from one company to another, for example, you can do that. Or if you want to assign everyone from a specific domain, you want to give them the same, the same field or something. If you want to update their address or whatever, you can use that. So, and then of course you can also do an import. So if you want to do a massive change to your data that's going to require going through every single individual contact, you can always export your data into a spreadsheet, make those changes, and then re-import them. So if you want to do it that way. So it really just depends on what you're doing, what your application is for that. Lydia, Instagram and Pinterest on the dev calendar yet? So yes, they are. We are looking into doing those integrations, but currently right now it's just Facebook, LinkedIn, and Twitter. So we're getting there as soon as we can. Will we be integrating Zoom? Yes, we do have integrations with Zoom through Zapier. So those are all done as through Zapier. One of the things that's kind of frustrating about the way Zapier works, though, with at least with Zoom so far, is that you have to create a separate Zap for every event, which is pretty problematic. So we're working with them to improve the capability. So anyway, so that's sort of where we're at with that. Yeah, and Charles, that's Lydia's question about integrating with Zoom. So, all right, good. So we got some good questions. Looks like we got 53% voted. All right, if we want to keep. Keith, your question about are we going to work more on the website capabilities? Yes, we have the landing page builder, the drag drop landing page builder. The website capabilities are there. If you find that you want more out of your website than our standard templates, then we do have custom websites that we build for people. And if you go to our website, greenrope.com, and look at examples of the work that we've done, you'll see that it has a lot of capability, or we've got a lot of experience designing some really nice looking websites. They're responsive, they look great. So, and Ryan is the one that does that. And I think you'll find that if you want something custom made, Ryan will do a really, really good job for you. So he's really good. We're really proud of a lot of the content, those sites and designs that he's done. Let's see. So Charles, any opportunity to pull up a contact record based on an inbound call coming in? Yeah, so that's on our list as well. So that if you have a salesperson and an inbound call comes in, that something pops up on the screen so that they can immediately pull up the contact record based on the call. So that's on our list too. So yeah, so stay tuned for that. I'm hoping that that'll come out this year. All right, so it looks like we got 58% voted. And Lydia, it'll be through Zapier. The integration will be through Zapier for Zoom. So we probably won't do a direct connection with Zapier or with Zoom. So, all right. Good. So it looks like we got some good responses. Thank you very much for those. And so now I guess we'll just open it up to some Q&A. If there's anyone else that still wants to vote, I'm going to end the poll here now. And thank you for that feedback. Eric's question: the websites shown on the GreenRope site are custom or built with the templates. Those are all custom examples of what we can do for custom. And Chandresh, your question about Wistia. So that's on our list for integration with that. Currently, we're integrated with Vimeo most tightly. So and I know that Wistia is it's a great platform out there. We just haven't built the integration, the tight integration like we have with Vimeo there yet. We picked a platform, we picked Vimeo for our main video integration work. So hopefully we'll get Wistia done this year as well. All right, so I'm going to close the polls now. Thank you very much for the feedback. So some of you said that we got one person that said he wasn't sure if you recommend GreenRope, which obviously we appreciate everyone's opinion and feedback on everything. One thing I would like to stress is that we are an open door. So if you have any questions or issues or feedback about anything, let us know what we can do to help. You know, we're a small company, but we're focused on making sure that we do everything we possibly can for all of you. And so if there's anything that you think, whether it's a user interface issue or something that takes too long to do, or some way we can make your life more efficient, or some piece of functionality, please let us know what that is. So, wow, we got a bunch of questions that are coming in here. So Keith, is there a way to be able to show a member's age on the website? It shows the age in the CRM. I suppose we could do that. I don't think that would be that hard, but we'll look at that. Ingrid, are you going to share the data from the poll? Yes. I'm not sure. I think if I end the poll here, which I'm going to do, I'm sorry if I cut anybody off from your voting, but you got to do it sometime. All right, so it's ended. So here we go, sharing the results. So now you guys can see what everybody said. So yeah, so anyway, so yeah, share if there's anything that you think we should improve, let us know. So specifically some of these, you know, a lot of them we do our best to try and anticipate how you're going to want to use something. But if there's something specific that you feel isn't intuitive, or something that you think, some piece of functionality that you'd like to see, let us know what that is. We are built around listening to you. And so if there's anything that you think we can do better, we want to know what that is. So please just share us what that information is, so that we can better serve you. You know, we're a small company, but like I said, we work very hard to try and do what we can to make you guys happy and make sure you have the best tools that you can get. So let us know how we can do that. All right. So looks like we've got pretty much all the Q&A done here, and so I think we're going to cut this off, and I really appreciate you all for the time that you spent with me today, and I hope this encourages you also to participate in the webinars that I give every month, so that you can have access to the same kind of information. Those private webinars that I run every month, we talk a little bit more in depth about the new features that have come out, and I do when I do that, we actually are in the live system. So it's just sort of a nice way to go in and interact directly with me through that. But like I said, you know, I'm on social media and I'm happy to interact with you there as well. So if you want to connect with me on LinkedIn and shoot me a message that way, my email is just Lars@GreenRope. It's pretty easy to figure out how to reach me. So really appreciate the time and all of you spending your time with me, and you guys relying on us. And so, like I said, we're here to serve you. So let us know how we can do that. Thanks again for all of your time. Have a great rest of your day, and have a great Happy New Year. So thanks again, everybody. We'll be in touch, and we'll talk hopefully on another webinar next week or next month. Take care.